Hello, everybody. Welcome to another LEAP webinar. Thank you guys for joining today. Pretty pumped on this one. It's going to be a little bit special. So one of the things we're super pumped to announce is we have a new partnership with an organization I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, and if you're not, you should be. Modernize. We're going to be talking about leads today and how they pair in with LEAP, and how the two are really just a match made in heaven. So as cliche and cheesy as that sounds, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We got a couple cool folks on the phone. On the LEAP side, you got me, I'm down there on the bottom, James, I'm the VP of Marketing and Partnerships. So this is one of the ones that I've been working on for a while now. We've also got with us behind the scenes, we got Michelle. She's our marketing manager here at LEAP. We're also joined by Tanner Bond and Jason Lockhart, Senior Director of Business-to-Business Marketing and a regional sales manager over at Modernize. So say hi, guys. We'll get into your intro in just a bit. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Welcome. And a little bit of housekeeping before we get started, as I know there's a lot of people pouring in right now. One of the things we want to do throughout these calls truly suck if it's just us reading off a PowerPoint. So by all means, go into the questions section, which you guys can see on the right-hand side. Everybody should have that little go-to-webinar toolbar. You'll see that question section, all right? That's where we want you guys to feel free to drop in any of the questions, comments, concerns. All of that communication can be put into that section. All of us on this call are going to be watching that throughout. Our goal is to make this worth the hour that you guys carved out on your calendars to be here. If it's not, you know, again, it's a waste of your time. We don't want it to be anything near that. So do us a favor to get used to that. In that question section for everybody on the call, throw in where you're joining from today. It just gives us a little bit of back and forth. Awesome. We got Dan already saying he's joining from Winston-Salem. Winner, chicken dinner, you're the first one in there. Jesse from Lincoln, welcome. So throw in where you're joining from today. William, thanks for joining from St. Louis. Got John from Maryland. We are also technically in Maryland, in Columbia. So happy to have everybody on the call today. Tanner, where are you and Jason joining from today? I know the answer to this, but this is for everybody else.
We're coming in from Austin, Texas, where it's 105 degrees every day.
But you guys have amazing barbecue, so it makes up for it.
That's true.
Yeah, if I wanted to stand in the line, actually I pay people to stand in line at Franklin's, and then you just yeah, right. That's you just reap the benefits, right? Nice. We got Bill. You're also calling in from Austin. Very cool. So we'll let a couple other folks join in. I know there's still some people jumping on. The other thing we want to do too is Michelle's going to drop in a poll. All right. What this helps us do, you guys, is this also helps us cater to what's going on the call. So feel free, answer the poll that's going to be jumping on your screen any second now. Boom. Thank you, Michelle. This just helps us get a clear understanding of who you're using. All right. We can cater, again, the messaging to this conversation, and this is going to help us go from there. Awesome. Keep answering those things. We're at 48%. That's not good. Come on. 52%. Slightly better. All right, 62. Solid jump. Come on, folks. Get it above 80 and I'll shut my mouth. There's your incentive. And we'll move on. It's the good stuff. Keep it going. 71. A little more. Just need a couple more people. If you're out there and you can hear it, I know you want to. All right, 76. Like 2-3 more people just need to vote and then we'll go away. Come on. Oh, we went backwards? How did that? Oh, more people joined. That's why. All right. If you just joined, there should be a poll on your screen. Answer it. All right. We're going to give it 5 more seconds, and then we're moving on. All right. That's 5 seconds. Good enough. All right. So moving on with this, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So next steps. All right, so first things first, we're going to go over our partnerships. The reality is, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, we don't partner with anyone. We partner with the right people. And that's why we're here today. We're going to introduce you also to the Modernize team. They can tell you a lot more about their organization, what they do, all that other good stuff. From there, we'll talk a little bit about how that pairs with Leap. There's a solid number of people from both sides who use Leap and Modernize. Guess what? You guys are both ahead of the game. On the other side of this, there are some folks who use Leap, and there are other folks who only use Modernize. It looks like there's a couple people that got lost and showed up, but it's okay. We're happy to have you here today. So we're going to talk about not only how Modernize works, we'll talk about how Leap works, and then we're going to open this up to some Q&A. By all means, if you have any questions throughout this, going back to it because some of you joined late, jump into that question section. We're going to be monitoring this thing throughout. Okay? So moving right along, let's talk about how we partner with folks. All right, so Leap, I'm sure Modernize is the same thing for you guys, but we get approached all the freaking time. People are like, hey, I want to partner with you. We do our due diligence on every single person that comes in, whether it's a company we heard of or a company we haven't heard of. We're very selective about who we bring into our inner circle, and the reason being is because we use this as a way to protect our contractors. So the folks that are on this call, those folks that are using us currently, and even those thinking about using us. We don't want to bring somebody in that's going to make your life more difficult at all. We vet their technical abilities, we vet their businesses, we vet their processes, the products they offer, the whole 9 yards. All right? We just make sure that it's going to benefit you and not hurt you in any way, shape, or form. All right? Modernize is a lead partner. All right? We don't have very many of those in our books because, frankly, there's a lot of folks out there who will promise you a lot of really cool things, and they deliver 0 of them. But the biggest part of this is that, as a whole, why would we even want to partner with a lead generator? All right, if this is your funnel, all right, we think about this. This is the life cycle for every lead for pretty much every single business that we've ever dealt with, whether it be an owner-operator all the way up to the biggest names in this industry. They all function the same way. You have a lead come in, you qualify it at your call center, it gets funneled into your sales team for you to close in the home. It eventually has to make it, if it's sold, to the production staff to install. And then eventually it has to make its way back into marketing because you got to either upsell that person long term in 5 years or in tax season comes around, or if you don't sell it, you just got to get it back in for rehash. So if this is our lead funnel, what happens if you don't have leads? This stuff, guess what? Woohoo, it doesn't mean anything. Yay. You basically don't have a business, period. No leads, no business. So why do we partner with a lead generator? It's because they're the lifeblood of the business. You can have the most amazing technology. Guess what? Leap doesn't have a business if people don't have leads, period. So you look at this stuff, and leads are truly the lifeblood of our industry. It's the topic at every trade show. It's the topic of every freaking publication out there. And honestly, it's one of the biggest pains in the ass to manage. So, again, why do we partner with folks like that? Because we know what we're doing. We know that it's going to benefit you at the end of the day. They need to drive interested customers to your organizations, and without that, it just makes everything more difficult. All right? The other thing we also need to note with this too, and I mentioned this when it comes to like why we don't partner with a lot of marketing companies, not all leads are created equal. All right? There's plenty of times where we go to a trade show or something like that, and we get somebody who's like, hey, can I get one of those t-shirts? Hey, can I get a koozie? What do you guys do? And then we sit there and talk to them for the longest time, and they're like, oh, cool, I don't do anything in this industry. I just randomly showed up at this hotel, and yeah, thanks for the koozie. You know, that's not a lead. Granted, they might fill out one of your lead forms or something like that, but you need to have somebody looking at your best interest because they've invested the time to vet that person just as much as you do. All right? The other thing you need to know about this, and this is a little known fact, if you guys haven't seen this, we use it all the time. This is something that you should literally take a screenshot of and tape to your wall. Like, even if you have the best leads in the world, the best leads, if you don't invest in your processes to convert them, you're basically pissing away half your leads, period. It's just a fact. All right, 57% of what you convert comes from, really at the end of the day, really good leads. The other 43 is totally determined by your sales process. So if you want to own both sides, partner with the right people and invest in the right tools to convert them. All right, now let's talk a little bit about why we partner with Modernize, you guys. It's the reputation. It's why we're all here, right? They have a brand, and the reason they have a brand is because they're regarded as one of the best. They're a titan in the industry. All of you, if you haven't used them, you've probably heard of them. All right, they're huge for a reason, and they're incredibly good at what they do. The other thing is our customers ask for it by name. They're like, hey, why don't you guys partner with anyone like these guys? Well, we did. And then the other part of this too, when we talk about customer focused, these guys are not just focused on contractors. They're also focused on the homeowners. Because at the end of the day, they have to go direct to consumer, and that consumer is that homeowner. So that if you guys think you have it tough, where it's your reputation is dependent on what a homeowner thinks, well, guess what? They're dependent on not just that homeowner's opinion of the process, they're also dependent on your opinion of the process. So there's two opportunities for them to get basically crapped on, but they don't, and they've built an incredibly successful business as a result of the quality that they drive. And then at the end of the day, they're super tech forward, and they really fully understand how this business works. So we're thrilled beyond belief. The hell yeah is there for a reason. Again, we're pumped to be partnering with you guys. So thank you for doing this. High five, Jason. High five, Tanner. So let's talk about those guys. This is the point at which I'm going to shut up a little bit and these guys are going to talk. I'm going to pass it over to them. They're going to tell us a little bit about themselves, how this partnership came to be, and then from there dive into the products and the processes that make Modernize what it is. So again, my time to shut up. You guys take it and run with it.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, James. So a little bit about kind of the company, history of Modernize. Been in business for nearly 15 years, so not just kind of a fly-by-night player as you might find with some other companies in our space. And over those 15 years, we've grown a lot year over year and become one of the largest home improvement lead gen providers in the country, particularly in the 4 core trades that we focus on. We're very, as James mentioned, tech focused and very focused on grabbing data from different technologies that both we and our customers use to get data feedback from them. And we use that data every day with our account managers and our accounts, both to improve our products, what we're delivering to our customers, but also, as James mentioned before, to improve the partner performance. How are our customers using the products that we give them? What do their sales processes look like? How can we help them improve those to get the most potential out of those products that we deliver? We work with a lot of the big guys. If you can think of a Fortune 500 home improvement company, we probably had them as a customer. But we also work with a lot of regional providers as well. So it works on both ends of the spectrum. You don't have to be a Home Depot or a Lowe's to have great success with our products. Comparing us to some other players in the industry, I think we're a little more focused on longer term partnerships rather than just kind of a one time or 1 month. We're going to try to get you to buy leads today, and we don't really care if we see you in the future. So we have maybe a little bit higher monthly minimums than some other people you're going to see in the industry, because we are focused on people who are committing to this as a marketing channel that they want to use to grow their business, and a partnership, frankly, that they want to begin with us so we can help them evolve both their marketing and sales. And then, going back to the kind of technology focus, we integrate with pretty much any home improvement CRM you can think of, and those integrations are really part and parcel of our products and service and key to our success and our partners' success. And to talk a little bit about kind of our history with Leap, we just are kicking off the partnership today, but this certainly hasn't been the first week or month or maybe in the first year, that we've kind of been sizing each other up, circling each other for a while. I think some people may have even tried to put something together before now, but James and I got in touch a couple of months ago, and have really spent the last couple of months kind of doing a deep dive into the products and services that each other offer. And both came to the conclusion that it made a lot of sense for both of our customer bases to kick off this partnership and, leverage Modernize leads to help lead customers grow to the top of their funnel, and then have Modernize customers leverage Leap software to close more of those leads that we feed them than they could without something similar, right? And we really think Leap is kind of a best-in-class solution in this space, which is a big driver why we were so excited to be here today.
Yeah, just as a little context to you guys jumping in, we've actually been, like he mentioned, circling. We've had Modernize on our radar for the better part of 2 years. We've seen them at shows, we've talked to them, we've heard them referred to from or by customers of ours, and they said, who are these guys? Why aren't we partnered with them? And tried to get as close to them as possible, but frankly, didn't have what we needed to in order to play in the same sandbox. But the cool thing is we find ourselves now in a position where we've got a super strong product, and it just really does marry so well to what they're doing over there. So it's so exciting for us to see this thing come to fruition after so many months and even years of hard work. So stoked. Thanks, man. We'll keep going.
Ditto, yeah. Yeah, and then talking a little bit more about the company and kind of the things that sets us apart really from the rest of the field. As I mentioned on the last slide, we're really focused on 4 core trades. So where there's a lot of companies out there who are what we would say, a mile wide and an inch deep in every trade you can think of, we're really the opposite and focused on solar, roofing, windows, and the HVAC space. And we think kind of our focus on those trades gives us, one, just unmatched volume. If you're in those trades and in your service area, that focus lets us drive thousands more leads and appointments than our competition can in those areas. It also gives us the advantage of big data, right? So the more product we produce in these trades, the more data we get back on the performance of those products, which just allows us to iterate faster on driving better homeowner intent and really driving towards our customers' business goals, whether that be a marketing cost percentage, an ROI, whatever business goal we're using to judge the success of the program. I'll let Jason jump in here and talk the sales process.
Yeah, something I wanted to point out too is James had mentioned earlier about Leap. You guys are Leap's very selective about who they let in their network. It's something that you'll find with Modernize as well. We have conversations with probably upwards of 2,000 contractors a month coming to us and wanting to get into the program. The reality is there's about 50 to 60 that we let into our network every single month. So we have the same types of conversations with our contractors that we have with Leap, which is you want to vet out these partnerships to make sure that it's the right fit. Because one of the realities of lead generation is that process matters. And if you don't have the right infrastructure and the right processes in place, you're doomed to fail. And we are not in a churn and burn type of business. There's a lot of companies that are happy to take a credit card and whatever amount of money you want to spend and then burn out. That is just simply not the model that we have. We find that the right way to do this and do right by our contractors and the homeowners is vet out both sides of that so that there is a good fit. Some of the things that we're usually looking at in this process is, does the contractor have a sales team to be able to support a lead program? Do they have marketing cost or cost per acquisition goals that are in line with what we can provide? Again, there's certain realities that come along with leads that you're not going to get a 2% marketing cost. You're not going to have a $150 acquisition cost in a lot of cases. So telling people based on data what is likely to happen with that and make sure that that's in line, make sure that that is going to be a profitable venture for both parties, really. And then, of course, looking at your specific market, right? So if these leads aren't targeted, they're a lot less valuable. And that's one of those things that separates us from the pack, is that when you look at lead generation versus, TV, radio, magazines, billboards, and trade shows, these are targeted, measurable, and scalable leads, right? So targeted meaning it's in your territory for the work that you do, and it's a homeowner. Measurable meaning for every lead that you get, you're going to know exactly down to the penny what you spent, what you generated. And then scalable, right? So if you're trying to grow your business, you usually want to be able to scale this up. So with leads, one of the things that's unique there is whether you buy 100 or you buy 1,000, so long as your infrastructure grows with that lead volume, your sales are going to grow proportionate to the increase in leads. And of course, be remiss if we did not mention what truly sets us apart, and it is the back end of this. So we're not a company that sells leads and then feeds people the wolves and say, best of luck, go get them. We have account managers for a reason. We actually have more account managers than we do salespeople here, because our business model is built on finding the right people and then nurturing those relationships over time. So each account manager, they're all located here in Austin, Texas at our office. Any of you guys are in Austin, you're welcome to stop by and see the place. We're right at 8th and Congress, right by our Capitol building. But everybody gets a dedicated account manager. So when you have a question, comment, concern, you're calling the same person every time. They know your business, they know your account, and they're working with you on a weekly basis, getting feedback on those leads, whether that be through a CRM or just a standard account review. We're gathering that information so that we can figure out what works, what doesn't work for each individual contractor, so that we can tailor those campaigns for the best results long term.
And then James already kind of teed up why they partnered with us. But I'd like to talk a little bit about why we decided to partner with Leap. And to go back to the theme I touched on earlier, it really has to do selfishly with their product, enabling our customers to really put our product on steroids to accelerate the returns they can get from modernized leads. And this just ties back in with kind of the sales process theme that's run through this conversation as well. Leap as a product just kind of supercharges these different pieces of the contractor sales process. So when you think about all the things you have to do inside the home, or you're hopefully doing them inside the home if you want to have a high close rate, and you want to do them as quickly, seamlessly, and professionally as possible, those estimates, proposals, offering financing options to people who might not be able to, pay cash for your services or get, financing other ways, and having that decision made quickly, in app on an iPad, whatever it may be, and delivering those in the home, is going to increase your close rate of our leads. You're just going to go from, if you're closing 6-7% of leads 10% before, then you're going to be closing, whatever that multiplier is. If it's 20% on top of that, then that's huge. That takes your, CPA. If your CPA was $1,000 before, it takes it down to $800. That's unbelievable math, and just lets you reinvest even more into growing your business. And there are other functions or solutions out there that do some of this stuff, but we really view Leap both in terms of the technology they pulled together into a single solution that you don't have to jump around and use a bunch of different things, and kind of the user interface of it, the usability, the ease with which you can do it, as both making them an industry leader in this space and a natural partner for us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for giving us those props. To piggyback on what Tanner was saying, the other thing to note is we do find that when customers come on board with Leap, we do find that the conversion rate of their leads tends to go up by roughly somewhere in the ballpark of like 10 to 15%. There's been a lot of different case studies we've run as well around what happens to the average ticket item. Just offering financing in the home period. We did a webinar on this earlier in the year, I think like in April or something like that, April or May. And one of the customers that we had, the second they started offering that in the home, their average ticket went up $1,600. So when you talk about the impact that has on your CPL, way better. The other thing we saw is that offering set contracts with other things like secure payment capture and financing, et cetera, in the home reduces your cancellations by like 13 points. So when you look at that, again, all of these things equate back to your CPL. And at the end of the day, the thing that we've always talked about with the Modernize team is this concept of ROI. If you're not getting the ROI, you're basically wasting your time. And it doesn't matter if someone's putting in 1,000 leads in your company. That's just basically 1,000 pieces of crap. So again, at the end of the day, can't say enough good things about these guys. They've been amazing thus far. We've got a ton of happy customers who are already actively using them. And I think next step for us too is we're going to jump in and give you a little bit more of an understanding of how these things pair with Leap, because there are a number of folks on this who don't use Leap. So one of the things we got to start talking about as we dive into the functionality of this is Leap. Consider this like that section of the lead funnel that we mentioned where it's the in-home sales portion. It owns everything from that point of handoff of that lead all the way back to install. So there's a lot of really powerful tools that can be used throughout the funnel. So when a lead is generated, whether that be your standard web lead, or whether that be something that Modernize teams go as far as setting an appointment for, or even if they hot transfer them into your organization, guess what? They're going to seamlessly show up inside Leap. So it's as simple as I got a lead, boom, in real time. Not only does it hit your system from Modernize to your CRM, from your CRM, it can instantly go into Leap as well. You can pass over any notes that were discussed. All of that stuff is fair game within the app. You click on that little I button in the bottom right of Jimmy Johnson's record. I can see whether or not it's, hey, they're really interested in a new set of windows. Their AC went out a year ago, so they're all good. They had it replaced, but their roof has been on the house for 30 years and they don't know if they're going to get another 5 out of it. Okay, cool. Opportunity to upsell. Oh, and by the way, don't open the gate. They have a big dog. Dog's going to bite you. Like all of those things can be passed over so that when your rep goes and shakes the hand of Jimmy, hey, Mr. Johnson, how's it going? I'm James. Yeah, hey, I had a chance to debrief with my office. They said X, Y, and Z. Let's do this. And at that point, you're off to the races. The other thing that's really nice too is every one of your digital brochures can seamlessly be put into the resources section. You can organize these in the same way that you would the desktop on your computer. Create folders, add videos, your sales pitch. Everyone's got their own. It's like their company history, set pitch. Hey, this is what sets us apart from the rest. All of that can be embedded in here, and you can protect what can be shared and what can't. If you're walking into the house with a small library worth of materials, A, there's probably some that you're missing, and then B, you look weird. It's just awkward. It's fact. The other thing we can do too is we partner with a lot of digital measuring tools. So EagleView and Hover, these are the gold standard in the industry. If we're talking about roofing, and even with siding and windows and stuff like that, Hover's got some amazing reports that can basically digitize the entire house and every opening in it. EagleView has the same exact thing in their team. Granted, they both function a little bit differently, so we don't ever want to pair them together. They probably wouldn't like that so much, but gold standard, you can use those to automatically populate your estimates. So again, when you talk about where the time is best spent to convert your lead, get to know the person. Educate them on how you price these jobs. Rather than crawling around on a 3-story roof, giving them heart palpitations or crawling around in their attic. Again, there's a portion of that where you'll still do some of those components, but at the same time, use the digital measurements to get more accurate results, as well as take the time to spend with the person and explain the job and educate them on what it is. Someone came in and quoted me and my wife on windows. Guess what? I don't come from the home improvement space. So before I worked here, I had no idea what the hell a double hung window was. They're like, yeah, we got 4 double hung here, we got a casement, we got this, we got that. And I'm sitting there going, gibberish, what? This is a great opportunity using the thumbnails too to educate them on all those terminologies that make sense to us, but are complete Charlie Brown teacher noises to any of the homeowners. The other thing we talk about is financing. All right, financing can be complicated to sell. It's super important to give yourself the ability not only to explain what it is, where their estimated monthly payment's going to be, but also give your sales reps the tools to know what's going to affect your margins. That number in red that you see on the right-hand side, there's your merchant fees. All right, so if your dealer fees, your merchant fees are going to be taken away from your profitability, train them on how to see the difference between something that's going to cost the business $200 and something that's going to cost the business $1,000. The other thing is we integrate with a ton of different lenders. There's actually a couple more that we've partnered with that aren't up and live yet, but by the end of the year, this is going to be upwards of 8+. So again, if you can get instant credit decisions within the home, why the hell wouldn't you? It gets that person to commit to the process, there's fewer cancellations, and it eliminates the scariest part of the entire sales pitch. All right, you ask somebody, how are you going to pay for this? Yeah, they're going to sweat a bit, even if they have the money to pay for it. It's a fact. All of that goes through these simple credit applications. You get instant decisions that then populate into your contracts. All of these things, we actually have special patents on our contracts process. No one looks like us. You have templates to make every contract specific to every job you run. You can digitally sign them. You can print them out if you wanted to, because some people still love paper. And then on the other side, you see that little DocuSign logo? You can also convert them into a DocuSign and get them in that inbox. So if you have the husband but not the wife or vice versa, well, one of them can digitally sign their contract on the iPad, and you can convert the other half of it into a DocuSign, blast it out, and they can sign it remote when they get home. That way you don't have to send a rep back out into the field, go through the whole process all over again. The other thing is we talked a little bit about CRMs. You can result the lead directly from Leap, and it can update your CRM. So if I sold this, it'll give me all the details that I need. Plus, if you look at that second line from the bottom, your reps can also get a clear understanding of what kind of commission they might make on a job. If they see that they're going to make $1,800, they're probably going to push to go a little bit higher on that sales price because they want to break $2,000. Newsflash, salespeople are pretty damn competitive. So fuel it, don't fight it. And then the last thing that we're taking a look at, there's two more. This one is a digital summary of whatever was sold. You can see up in the top right all the information that was disposed and pushed back to the CRM. And then underneath that, you also get a very clear, concise understanding of what was sold and in what quantities. All right, these digital summaries go straight into your production staff. You can use them for ordering. You can use them for remeasure. You can even use them for job costing, etc. All right, the most important piece out of all of this, the other thing salespeople are known for is having really crappy handwriting. So if it's the difference between someone squinting their eyes and saying, is that 29 or 24 square of shingles? 5 square shingles are a big difference in cost. And if you under order, you run the risk of screwing that person over because you could delay their job. You also delay any payments that would be made, etc. So again, digital versions, way better. This is the other piece that we get really, me specifically, get really, really, really nerdy on. All right, what you're looking at here is basically a digital record of everything that happened in the home. So when Tanner and Jason talked a lot about their use of data to drive their business, we do the same thing, and we're the only people in this entire industry that do it. The only. Every single time your rep touches the iPad, you get a timestamp and you know what happened. Historically, the only way you're ever going to get this kind of data is if you're standing 2 feet behind them and you're shadowing them. Newsflash, that makes homeowners really uncomfortable, and your reps are always going to be on their best behavior when Big Boss Man is standing right behind them. You want to know what happens in an unbiased format? This will tell you every single thing you need to know. Anytime our customers that use this really get going and really drive results via this data, their close rates go through the roof because they know exactly what they need to train and they know exactly what kind of objections they need to overcome. It's amazing. Again, the real big dogs, or even the ones that are coming up and making big names for themselves, use this. So, moving on. The last thing we want to do is we want to open this up to next steps. Questions, comments, concerns. So for everybody still on this call, and I can see who's on this call still, do me a favor. If you have any questions, drop them in that question section on the right-hand side. We've got a couple queued up and ready to go, but feel free, ask away. This is your chance. You've got industry experts from Leap on my side. We've also got Tanner and Jason, who are the Modernize experts. So throw in what kind of questions you guys have. Tanner, this one's for you guys. What's the easiest way to figure out what kind of leads can be generated in my area?
Yeah, so it actually only takes a couple of minutes. Usually that's something that'll happen on a discovery call with one of our guys. And really what it is, we have a data warehouse that's always telling us, where leads have been. Obviously, we can't predict the future, but what we do is we'll give you a snapshot of what's been generated over the last 60 days or year to date. And it's based on contract or territory, right? So if a contractor works in zip code 78758 and they do a 40-mile travel radius, we can look it up that way. We can do it by county. A lot of times contractors have specific zip codes. We can populate those in there as well. And then take a look at the data a couple of different ways to give people a good understanding of exactly what to expect that's in their market.
Awesome. We got another one. This goes to you guys as well. What happens if they set an appointment and no one shows?
That's a great question. So it depends on what kind of product you're looking at, but the reality is whether it's leads or appointments or live transfer products that we have, the thing that we sell, that is part of what is going to happen. What we'll usually do when we're sitting down and evaluating a market with somebody is we'll give them an idea of what the current sit rates are, what the hold rates are. And the leads, the appointments, the transfers, they're all priced with these things in mind. We know that there's a certain percentage of these things that are going to fall off. So the reality of what happens when they don't show, you try to reschedule. It's the same thing that would happen if somebody comes into a contractor's website. If somebody no-shows the appointment, you're just going to continue working and going after it. Getting into the idea of, I think probably what the question's getting at, if I can be a little bit assumptive, is probably, hey, is there some sort of credit process? There are credits on things like leads. There's really not a credit process on the appointments. We can talk about that a little bit later, possibly offline in some more detail if you guys want. But the reality is, if you're spending a bunch of time trying to get credits on something that is already dead or not there, it's kind of money wasted. So long answer going short here is that it's built into the pricing model. We know that it's going to happen. And it's one of those things that we show every single contractor before they engage in business with us is, here's what you should expect. Here's the average no-show rate or the average cancellation rate. And then make sure that that's still going to work in with the numbers.
Awesome. That's great. A great answer. And then there's one directed for Leap. It's, what kind of success have you seen? We alluded to that a little bit earlier. When folks tend to jump on this, there's an onboarding period of like 30 to 60 days to build out Leap itself. It's customized specifically with one person. They're basically a dedicated rep that works directly with your staff or whoever's owning this project to build out and make it work for your business. At that point, we train your sales reps, we train your internal staff. And when we see this thing really get rocking within that like 60 to 90 day period, we've seen tremendous success right off the bat. I mean, this is a natively built app into an iPad. So when you look at it, anyone can use it. The technology is very simple. We tend to see pretty big lifts on both retention of customers as well as conversion rate of leads. We've got another question. How does Modernize handle lead inquiries when there are competitive clients in the same market?
How do we handle it? Meaning what happens when there's two contractors and homeowner submits a request? I think that's what the question's asking. So great question. Yeah, and that's a great question. Pretty common too. So these leads are going to be shared with other contractors. We have a maximum of 4, but that is the nature of the homeowner that we're driving in, right? So we are servicing a market of homeowners who are looking to get multiple bids. And so when these people are out searching online and They interact with some content that we have out there. They end up on one of our landing pages and they're submitting the request. The purpose of that request is to find a way to connect with a couple of contractors in an easy fashion where they're not having to go on to 7 or 8 different websites and figure out what to do. They're trusting us to find those contractors that are experts and put them in touch. So homeowner submits a request, we're going to match them with a maximum of 4 contractors at any given time. The reality is in most markets, each homeowner is being matched with probably 2 contractors, maybe 2 to 3 contractors. Very few markets across the country where you're going to find that there's just an overabundance of contractors. Like I said earlier, we probably talk with about 2,000 contractors a month, and there's anywhere from 50 to 60, maybe upwards of 80 that we take in each month. So we're not in a saturation model. We're not trying to fill every single spot in every single market across the country.
If I could just piggyback on that, James, even if we don't match those homeowners with 3 modernized contractors, the homeowner is going to go find more quotes from those contractors elsewhere. So my team surveys thousands of homeowners each quarter, and we ask them some core set of questions each quarter, and it never fails. Every quarter we ask the question, how many contractors are you getting quotes from for your job? And something like 88, 89% are going to get more than one quote, want more than one quote from a contractor. And more than half of them said they want 3 or more quotes from a contractor. So it's kind of the nature of the homeowner, home improvement process. Just like when you're thinking about making improvements to your own home, you're not going to take just one guy on the first pitch he gives you. You want to see and make sure that you're getting kind of the best deal, the best contractor, the best service.
Got it. Cool. And then the other question we have too is what kind of additional data can be provided? Someone was alluding to solar leads. Is there any way to get things like a utility bill or anything like that passed on?
Sure. So that's a great question too. Those are questions that are asked on the forums. They're what we call optional questions, meaning if the homeowner doesn't know or doesn't provide it, it doesn't mean that they're not a valid prospect. There's some other deep dive types of questions that a lot of contractors will ask us about, credit score. And that one is one that actually causes homeowners to abandon landing pages in droves. People who have good credit know better than to put anything about their credit online. So things like credit score are a real dicey proposition. The people who are prone to answering those types of questions are people you are not going to want to do business with.
They probably lied.
Exactly right. Yeah, they go, I got an 800, and it's like, I missed a decimal, it's 80. So yeah, there's some other questions, for solar specific. We'll ask about things like shading, but or utility provider. Like I said, a lot of that stuff though is subjective. Shading on a home. Do they have full sun or not? The amount of people who know how much sun their roof is getting is few and far between. Unless you just live in an area with no trees, you can do a pretty good guess. But if you live in any kind of environment where there's trees, your guess is as good as anyone else's. So it's subjective stuff. We ask it and we do our best to try and make adjustments to the landing pages over time. But really the basic things we're looking for is, are they a homeowner? Are they interested in solar? Are they willing to provide their name, phone number, email, physical address? And with the purpose of saying, I want contractors to reach out to me and give me a quote.
Got it. Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about next steps. If you guys have questions, feel free to throw those in, but we want to make sure before everybody jumps off that we give you guys a clear understanding of how to take action with either us at Leap or with the Modernize teams. So on your screen, what you're going to be able to see now is 2 landing pages or 2 links. All right, if you guys are interested in learning a lot more about Modernize, the easiest way to do that is to just go to modernize.com/pros/leap. That's going to take you to an area where you can basically fill out your information. A member of the Modernize team will get in touch with you. They can answer any and every question that you guys have, give you quotes on rates, CPL, all that other good stuff. Effectively give you a clear understanding and indication of what it's going to look like to implement Modernize into your business. If you haven't done that, or you're even remotely interested in getting more leads in your business, guess what? Go to the link. It's going to give you a lot of answers and a lot of insights. If you're interested in Leap, again, there's a lot of folks on this conversation today that are using Modernize to generate leads, or even some that aren't using either one of us. But if you're truly interested in understanding how you can have an airtight sales process from beginning to end, and there's a reason why we are the only company out there that does this in all-in-one package, find out more at leaptodigital.com/modernize. Again, what I recommend, it takes about 45 minutes to go through a real deep dive on how Leap works. It's one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. And like I said, I don't come from the home improvement space. I've been in it enough to know that most every company that we deal with prior to using Leap, it's a nightmare to manage. My background's big data and consulting for private equity firms. And when I go into a lot of startups and turnarounds, the things that I see within business operations terrify me. And a lot of that is mirrored within this industry. It's just insane how much manual processes exist. If you want to figure out a way to completely overhaul your organization in that 30 to 60 day window to get this thing built and running, oh my God, take the time, do a 45-minute demo. You'll know in about 2 seconds that this is something you absolutely have to have. But even if it isn't, it'll really make you start thinking about how you can level up your business and ways to implement best practices. So again, you want to know more about Leap, go to leaptodigital.com/modernize. Get your mind blown. All right. Last bit too, there's a lot of other really cool things that we can talk about. Chad, I just saw your other question about lenders. I'll reach out to you personally after this webinar, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. Other than that, you guys, cannot say enough wonderful things about Modernize and the partnership that we've been able to build. Tanner, you and Jason, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Brian, high five.
Yeah, thank you, James. Really appreciate you having us, Tim.
Yep,
Yeah, honestly, we've been trying to do this for a really long time, and I'm so happy we got this thing across the finish line. For all of our customers and future customers on this call, if you're not using either one of these organizations, you're really doing your business a disservice. Get out there, get it done, level up, game on. Brian wanted to throw out, he just threw into the comments just a really, really wonderful compliment to us. So Brian, kudos. We got some, we'll send some swag your way. Thanks for doing that. He said Leap's the best thing we've implemented in 2018. Where'd it go? Oh no, it went away. Oh no, forget it. It went away. Brian, we'll take care of you, man. Thank you for the awesome advice, or for the awesome link. Yeah. So if anyone has any other questions, go to those two links. Tanner and Jason, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. This recording will be this webinar will be recorded. We're going to post it on YouTube. Do us a favor, go to either one of our LinkedIn pages, like it. Facebook, same thing, like it. And we'll be sharing this out with everybody post-webinar. Thank you guys so much for joining. Have an awesome rest of your Thursday. Enjoy your weekends. Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everyone.